Let's talk about Reza Aslan. I usually try to be both polite and fair in my videos, but this time I'm afraid I need to start by saying Reza Aslan is a bullshit artist. And it took me a while to figure that out. I'll be fair though.
I like Bill Maher. I've been on his show a bunch of times. He's a comedian.
I can already see where this is going. I have gay friends, I have African American friends, I have Jewish friends, but
I like Bill Maher. I've been on his show a bunch of times. He's a comedian, but frankly, when it comes to the topic of religion, he's not very sophisticated in the way that he thinks.
I have defended things Bill Maher has said before, and I'm not exactly a fan of his. He's a bit too simple-minded for my taste sometimes. I still like him though, because at least he is sincere. Reza Aslan is not. I used to like him on the basis of this one infamous clip.
Now, I want to clarify, you're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Well, to be clear, I am a scholar of religions with 4 degrees, including one in the New Testament and fluency in Biblical Greek, who has been studying the origins of Christianity for 2 decades, who also just happens to be a Muslim. So it's not that I'm just some Muslim writing about Jesus. I am an expert with a PhD in the history of religions. But I've been obsessed with Jesus.
It still begs the question, why would you be interested in the founder of Christianity?
Because it's my job as an academic. I am a professor of religion.
Now, I have not read his book, so I don't know whether his perspective on Jesus is in any way influenced by his religion or not. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt back then because I presumed that he was an academic who happened to be a Muslim. And I thought the interviewer was doing a very poor job. And it was on Fox News after all. I thought his attitude was a bit annoying and bitchy, but I also understood why he might act like that in an interview like this. Then I didn't hear anything from Reza Aslan anymore, and I couldn't have cared less. Until...
I mean, the argument about the female genital mutilation being an Islamic problem is a perfect example of that. It's not an Islamic problem, it's an African problem.
Well, wait, because he says it's a, hold on a second, Reza, because he says it's a Muslim country problem. He says that in Somalia...
Yeah, but that's...
What was that with Somalia? Reza interrupted her for some reason. Maybe because he didn't want Somalia to be mentioned at all. Somalia, the country where 98% of women are mutilated, the highest number in the entire world, a country in which 99.8% of residents are Muslim. But what is female genital mutilation exactly? FGM is divided into 4 categories by the World Health Organization. Type 1 includes the removal of the clitoral hood and the clitoral glands. Type 2 also includes the complete or partial removal of the inner and or outer labia. Type 3 is the worst category, which includes the complete removal of clitoris and labia. In the end, the wound is sewed together, only leaving a 2 or 3 millimeter hole. The wound is then broken by the husband's penis years later, or even cut open with a knife when necessary. It's torture. Type 4 is defined as all other harmful procedures to the female genitalia for non-medical purposes.
He says that in Somalia...
Yeah, but and that's actually empirically, factually incorrect. It's a Central African problem.
And it's a problem in Bahrain, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates and Yemen. Just saying.
Eritrea has almost 90% female genital mutilation. It's a Christian country.
Eritrea's Muslim population is estimated to be somewhere between 36 and 50%.
Ethiopia has 75% female genital mutilation. It's a Christian country.
Ethiopia has a Muslim population of 33.9%. Both of those countries have a strong Muslim minority, a minority nonetheless. So I'll kinda give him that.
Nowhere else in the Muslim majority states is female genital mutilation an issue.
The Muslim-majority countries Afghanistan, Bahrain, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Malaysia, the Maldives, Oman, Pakistan, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates and Yemen beg to differ, as well as Muslims in India, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Thailand.
But again, this is the problem.
What's the problem? You being a liar with a clownish attitude?
But again, this is the problem, is that you make these facile arguments like that women are somehow mistreated in the Muslim world. Well,
just reading the prevalence of female genital mutilation by country article on Wikipedia makes this argument seem not so facile. But maybe we have to interpret Reza Aslan's claim like this. Female genital mutilation is a cultural problem that just happens to happen in Muslim-majority countries. But it has nothing to do with Islam. To be fair, Islamic scholars are split on the issue of female circumcision. Some of them oppose it, some are in favor of it, others don't care. Religious views on female genital mutilation vary even within the same religious tradition. FGM is found only within Muslim communities, but the practice predates Islam and is not required by it. It is generally accepted that there is no close link between the practice and religious belief. Despite this, there is a widespread view in several countries, particularly in Mali, Eritrea, Mauritania, Guinea and Egypt, that FGM is a religious requirement. But here, what's this? A woman used to perform circumcision in Medina. The Prophet said to her, "Do not cut severely, as that is better for a woman and more desirable for a husband." This is from the Hadith, which is a collection of stories about the Prophet Muhammad. The Hadith is the most important religious text in Islam after the Quran. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani describes this Hadith as poor in authenticity and quotes Imam Ahmad Barr's point of view that it is poor with a broken chain of transmission. Zayn al-Din al-Iraqi points out in his commentary on al-Ghazali's Ira Ulum al the mentioned hadith has a weak chain of transmission. So you need to read the hadith critically. Keep in mind that it's the hadith, not the Quran, that forbids the portrayal of Muhammad, and that's being taken seriously. There are more hadiths where mutilated female genitalia is mentioned. Read the Wikipedia article in the description box below if you are interested. Quran verse opposing FGM. Oh! At least the Quran even opposes female genital mutilation. I will mislead them, and I will create in them false desires. I will order them to slit the ears of cattle and to deface the fair nature created by Allah. Whoever, forsaking Allah, takes Satan for a friend, hath of a surety suffered a loss that is manifest. This surah has been interpreted to mean that the Quran forbids men to change nature or mutilate any creature. Islamic scholars against FGM claim that this verse from Quran forbids all things that change what nature has meant it to be, including female circumcision and birth control. Some scholars find this religious view unpersuasive because Muslim male circumcision also mutilates and changes nature. In conclusion, there is theological disagreement within Islam when it comes to the issue of female genital mutilation. However, it is widespread in Muslim countries and not just African countries. And if we look at female genital mutilation happening in the West, it's a tradition exclusive to Muslim immigrants. That, Reza, is why people connect the practice to Islam, for good reasons.
Well, that's certainly true in many Muslim-majority countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia. Do you know that Muslims have elected 7 women as their heads of states in those Muslim-majority countries?
The US president is called Barack Obama, and the sort of people that celebrate you tend to make the argument that this doesn't mean racism is over.
How many women
But it is
do we
not,
have
but
as head
for the
of
most
states
part,
in the United States?
Reza, be honest though, for the most part, it is not a free and open society for women in those states.
Well, it's not in Iran, it's not in Saudi Arabia, it certainly is in Indonesia and Malaysia, it certainly is in Bangladesh, it certainly is in Turkey.
Okay, let's have a look at the examples you've picked. Indonesia. Female genital mutilation is prevalent in Indonesia. 97.5% of females from Muslim families, at least 85% of females in Indonesia, are mutilated by age 18. In certain communities of Indonesia, mass female circumcision ceremonies are organized by local Islamic foundations around the Prophet Muhammad's birthday. Malaysia. Female genital mutilation is prevalent in Malaysia, where 93% of females from Muslim families have been mutilated. Great examples, Reza, you disingenuous, pretentious asshole. The practice of mutilating female genitalia certainly wasn't imported from Africa.
It's not an Islamic problem, it's an African problem.
You are not only a liar, you are a fucking racist. I have no interest in dealing with the rest of the interview. To be fair, he goes on to say how bad Saudi Arabia is and that we don't criticize them as much because they are allies, which is a true observation as far as politics are involved. But it has nothing to do with Bill Maher's stance on Islam. Bill Maher isn't defending Saudi Arabia. And then he repeats his bullshit talking points of how Islam and every other religion don't promote violence, but it's all the people's fault who misrepresent it. But I don't care. He's a two-faced piece of shit. I know that I'm being very rude and that's not my usual style, but I just have to make an exemption in the case of Reza Aslan. He is being cited by progressives all the time. There are videos everywhere on how he slams and debunks and destroys Islamophobic people when in fact he's just being a dishonest pseudo-intellectual. He's just another religious apologist and a liar, and I'm fed up with this. He's a smiling scumbag who joins in every time progressives feel like misrepresenting prominent atheists' views, or when they come up with excuses for acts of terrorism. He's just as bad as the Christian fundamentalists they like to bash, and he should be called out for it just like they are being called out. It's time for the progressive left to treat Islam the way they treat Christianity, with ridicule, hatred and contempt.
And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt. And I claim that right.
Progressives need to talk about the vast number of problems Muslim countries have in an honest way.
Did you hear what you just said? You said in Muslim countries. I just told you that Indonesia, women are absolutely 100% equal to men.
Then fucking go there. And if you want women in Indonesia to be equal to you, go ahead. Have your penis hacked off. Let it fester and crust and have some brute rip that wound open again with his penis. You disgusting little weasel. The progressive left needs to get its act together and stop drooling retardedly over idiots like him. It's tempting to just believe somebody who is stating numbers, because how could he be lying? That would hurt him, right? So he wouldn't do that, and I don't need to look it up myself, but what can I say? Reza Aslan don't care, Reza Aslan don't give a shit. So yes, progressives need to check his claims before something like this happens.
Nowhere else in the Muslim majority states is female genital mutilation an issue.
He's like, wait, what'd you say again? Oh, that was freaking awesome. So, but wait, what about the Muslim nations? Oh, 90%, 75% Christian nation. Dude, if you're going to come against Reza, you better come correct.
I do come correct. At least read one single Wikipedia article, Jenk, and see where that takes you. Otherwise, you are fucked.
This. Look, a snake's up in the tree. Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger don't give a shit. It just takes what it wants. Whenever it's hungry, it just, ew, and it eats snakes? Oh my god, watch it dig. Look at that digging. The Honey Badger is really pretty badass. They have no regard for any other animal whatsoever. Look, and it's just grunting and, ew, eating snakes. Ew, what's that, a mouse? Oh, that's nasty. Oh, they're so nasty.
I'm the thoughtful Contrarian. Feel free to rate, share and subscribe, and whenever you come across someone who is building his argument on numbers, check them.